Alright, this is May 30th, 2014. This is the trade of OPTT. You can see right here the stock market opened and this thing ran up to the day's high at 305. There was some news of a shakeup of the board of directors, and I don't know if people just thought that maybe the shakeup was good to get new blood in the company, but that forced it up to the high on the day. It looks around like 10 after 10, with the run up starting right in here about 5 till 10. 305 was the high. Now, I did some things wrong and I did some things right on this trade. I started watching this trade right in here and saw that it was right at resistance, which was like 250, and 250 is a good round number. So I thought, okay, if it can break resistance, it's going to run up. What I didn't recognize is that when these things run up, generally they dip after about 20 minutes or so, which this one did, but then they kind of bounce and they come up and then they come down and it should bounce, but it didn't do that, and I wasn't recognizing that. So I was buying it for a breakout, but I'll say that this trade would have been impossible to trade today without level 2. If you did not have level 2, you were trading blind today on this trade, and I'll show you why. When I was looking at level 2, I noticed this big seller, EDGX market maker, EDGX, of 50,000 shares to sell, which is huge, at 252. So what I was thinking was, okay, that's a lot of pressure holding the stock down. Do not buy it until it breaks 252. So that was my plan. And I looked here in Tim Sykes' chat room, and you could see Fairbanks 808 says dip buying OPTT at 249, he's thinking that's going to break 250 and it's going to run up, and he's going to scalp it and take profits. I wrote right here, you can see, wouldn't go long on OPTT until the 50K bid is dealt with at 252. So I saw that and recognized that. And when this thing hit 252, 253, that 50K bid disappeared. What I failed to recognize was that he was kind of like a shark. He was coming in and out. Don't even know if he was real, to be honest with you. But what I didn't recognize is that he disappeared, but there was not 50,000 shares sold over here in the execution window. So he may have been gone off the ask and temporarily allowing the stock to go up, which it did. It ran up to 257, and everyone else saw him disappear as well and said, oh, this is the breakout, let's get in. So they got in like I did. We were expecting it to run, it could run up to $3, which we should have known it wasn't going to, because it never bounced back here. It never had a big bounce. It just kind of died. And also, I failed to recognize the volume dried up. This thing wasn't going to go anywhere with this kind of volume, this low of volume. So, should have recognized the volume was down and just not really traded this at all. And this shark, he was diving in and out of this all day on the ask side, and it was just holding this stock down. It just held it down all day. Once I got in, it traded sideways all day. There was a little dip here. Maybe it was a shakeout, scare people, but it wasn't violent enough to shake really anyone out. I stayed in it. I think most everyone else did. And it just kind of traded sideways till the close. And I got out at right at the end at 248, 249. Lost 2 or 3 cents a share. Really no blood on the day. But this volume dry up, there's just not enough volatility to do anything with this stock. And, we should have recognized here after it hit this 257 and came down, you really could have just gotten out at any time, because there just wasn't enough volume. It's hoping it was a Friday and it would have gotten the shorts would have got squeezed and they would have gotten out for the weekend, and this would have pushed a little higher to make a small profit. That didn't happen either. And that seller, he was just it was like an endless amount of shares to sell. He just kept selling and selling and selling. It's like he had an endless amount of shares, and it just was too much pressure and the buys couldn't overtake them, and we just traded sideways the rest of the day. So I really wish I would have recognized this thing wasn't bouncing, bouncing along. If it was bouncing along, then this breakout at 250 probably would have been a good play, but it wasn't. It just kind of was fading slowly all day. That was the trade today.